Hello, viewers. Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. First of all, I hope that all my viewers are staying safe and well, and I'm certainly sending you my support. I am well. Thank you for asking. Among the comments, it's often expressed, please stay safe and well. I have a lot of gratitude for those kind of good vibes, good wishes being sent my way. So thank you. And they are returned because that's the thing with gratitude. It is an expansive energy. So I'm grateful for your good wishes. So please stay safe and stay well. Remember that you're not without power. There's always something that you can do, whether that is to choose to now. The CDC in America is saying that perhaps masks should be worn in Czechoslovakia. Every citizen doesn't leave their house unless they have a mask on. They obviously have a significantly lower population than the US, but there seems to be a bit of a turnaround now in terms of wearing face masks. In my opinion, and it is only my opinion, I've had some masks because I can't access medical grade masks. I've actually had some masks made up. They're working quite well, and I feel that they're better than not having a mask. As you know, that I have to be very careful with my immune system as I have a particular condition called lymphopenia, which means that I am immunocompromised. So having said that, that seems to be where the pathway is going now, more toward wearing a mask than not. But that is my research. Please do your own, and my research or my information is no substitute from what you're getting for what you're getting from official sources. So please check out what your health department, what the experts are saying about wearing of masks. All right. I want to do an overall view of the virus. I want to just take a look. I won't go through country by country today, but we'll have a general look at how things are going. There are all sorts of timelines about when this will peak. I think it was one of the Scandinavian countries now is saying that they expect to be in some form of lockdown until June. My own timeline on this is that I think at least June, July, and then we'll move to an easing of conditions, and then of course by the end of the year things are looking up. But this is unprecedented. Let's not understate this. It's absolutely unprecedented and carries with it at least economic recession globally, if not depression. So, are we without power? Never. We are never without power. We can always find something to do. I've expanded my vegetable garden plot. That's my action plan for today. All right. Let's start. We'll move. Have a general look at the virus. Then we'll. I've just had constant stream of emails saying, was this deliberately released? My readings have consistently shown that it wasn't intentionally released, but I still have there's some ambiguity around whether or not they may have been working in a lab on this particular virus. Now, experts say it's not a man-made virus; it's a natural virus. But I still get, and I agree with that. But I still get some anomalies around. Perhaps it is a natural virus, but were they still working on that in some way and an accident occurred and it was released out into the general public? I just want to throw some cards on that again because every reading I get shows that there's something that is just not adding up. I also want to look at, there's a raft of proposals in the US from the Department of Justice. It's before Congress. One of those proposals is to suspend the right to trial, habeas corpus. I don't, my intuition is that's not going to pass. My research says that that's not going to pass. There's several Republicans that have come out against that. But we'll throw some cards and see what the cards, because they trump my logic any day. In that vein, are leaders tempted to go too far? I mean, I don't. I know a few places that haven't declared a state of emergency, and of course, once that declaration is made, that opens up sweeping powers. And so, are any leaders tempted to sort of slip something underneath the door to perhaps move toward a little bit more of an authoritarian rule while this current situation exists? Are any of them tempted? Let's have a look at that. If we've got time, we'll look at why the President of the United States is again targeting Democratic governors, and particularly I want to look at the Michigan governor and see what's going on there, because she is standing up to him, Gretchen Whitmer, in Michigan. And also Dr. Birx, is that the way you pronounce her name? She's been known in the past to be quite bipartisan. She's been well thought of. All of a sudden, she's pandering and being quite sycophantic to Trump. Is there a logic in that madness? Let's have a look. But let's get started. I don't want to have a lengthy reading today, but let's have a look at the virus. I'm using my classic Llewellyn Tarot deck. It's one I haven't used for some time, but it's quite accurate, and I've got it out of mothballs for this reading. So, show me the virus. Show me the virus. And of course, I would not be surprised to see the death card here. We are the trajectory in most countries. There's almost a vertical climb. And I don't think we've seen the worst of it yet. So show me the virus across the globe in the areas that are heaviest hit. Show me the virus in areas heaviest hit. Show me the virus. What's happening with the virus now? Okay, well, we've got restriction, of course, and restriction is one of the strategies that works well to contain this virus, lockdowns, basically. And I feel with the energy of that card is that people are feeling it. Usually in our the way that we go about our lives, we have our freedom. We can go from A to B, and that's something we've taken for granted. So again, this virus is teaching us something. It's also teaching us about relationships as well, as we all go into lockdown for quite 24/7. It's teaching us, or the opportunity is there for us to learn. It depends whether we take it or not. The challenge with restriction, and yes, thank you, Llewellyn, Classic Tarot, they don't let me down, and I'm glad I picked them back up again. The challenge, of course, is that while we're in lockdown, we're slowing our economies down, and so it's a double-edged sword. The virus is a double-edged sword. The only way through it is lockdown, but at the same time there is this damage to economies, and also to our people who have been put off work. They're using their savings. They're drawing down on their superannuation, whatever they can to get through this period. So those two cards are the signifier cards. Let's see what the foundation of the reading is. Show me the virus this week. Well, this is the Ten of Wands, and we're carrying a burden. That's the foundation of the reading. But it is a 10, and it is a completion. We're moving to complete something. So even though we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel now, we're right in the middle of that dark tunnel. It's not obvious to us yet. At some time, we will move through this. In the past, we've got the Star of Hope. Now, that's a good card there, because hope fuels a lot of ambition. Hope fuels a lot of intention. Hope fuels a lot of action. Hope fuels a lot of passion. Now, I read today there was something like 43 labs around the world that are working on a vaccine. Many of them are doing so in a global coalition. The great work is being done in Canada, for example, in Australia, in the US, in the UK. We are, moving toward getting a vaccine for this. Why? Because we absolutely have to at this stage. The Page of Wands, our communication systems have been slowing. If in the US and the UK and other countries that tune in to me are anything like Australia, my phone dropped out 2 or 3 times over the last couple of days. Streaming is very difficult to do at the moment because the internet is clogged up. So everything is slowing. Someone sent me someone sent me a conspiracy theory email type things saying that they thought, urging me to watch someone who was saying that at the beginning of April, or would be this coming week, that the internet would completely shut down, telecommunications would completely shut down. I mean, I can read on that, but if I read on every single conspiracy theory going and every one single person getting famous on peddling conspiracy theories, I'd be here 24/7. That's all I do. We've got the Eight of Wands. That's the speed of this virus. It's the speed of the situation. It's we are now, Australia's, I think, looking at its released a second stimulus package. We're now we've brought forward paying wage subsidies to businesses, so that achieves two things. They don't slow. They don't. They can keep their workers on. Hopefully, they can keep some sort of business going, and they don't shut up shop. And then we're in that position where our businesses have to start from scratch again. So this is a second stimulus. We're looking at a real urgency to test antibodies so that those that have had the virus can take the antibody test, or anyone can take the antibody test, find out if they've had the virus, and then go back into circulation, because they will hopefully have that longer term immunity to this. And so they're not putting anyone else who hasn't had the virus in danger, because they've already had it. So there's all sorts of things that are that's moving, not to mention the medical resources. Now, I will say, before I go any further, a lot of our, not a lot, that's a generalisation, there have been several shipments out of Australia to China that occurred with Chinese-owned companies in Australia, were tasked with going out and finding and procuring as many medical resources as they possibly could, from face masks to gowns to gloves, etc., and to ship back to China. That also occurred in Canada. We've now, our Australian government has moved to prevent, in this state of emergency, to prevent these shipments going out the door in the first place. But they are staggering numbers, and were occurring in February, when perhaps governments should have been not as flat-footed and stopped that, because our frontline people, like your frontline people, are having difficulty getting masks, at least masks. Okay, let's keep going. We've got a coming together, and as I said that, I remembered there is an army now. There are certain hospitals in the US that have tasked sewers and community volunteers to start sewing masks, because a hand-sewn mask is better than no mask at all. So that they're wanting their frontline staff to have something. There are countless on Facebook. It's called the Kindness Pandemic, or Pandemic of Kindness. It's a particular page that tells beautiful stories that are occurring as our countries are grappling with this. We've got this beautiful heart-centered kindness coming forward. I'll see if I can put the actual name to that Facebook page. It'll give you a lift. There are some beautiful stories coming forward. The atmosphere around that, the hermit, we're reviewing, we're isolating, we're reflecting. So yes, things are pretty rough. But there is also a lot of good being accomplished at the moment as well. It's giving us a chance to pause. The hopes and fears, the Empress card, that's abundance. And our fear is that what we've taken for granted, the abundance that we've taken for granted, won't be there in the future. And that's a real fear, an absolute real fear. But the other side to the Empress card as well is getting back to the earth, getting back to a simpler way of doing things, asking the earth again, instead of, pumping those pollutants into our streams. Because we've got this pause in industrial activity, and we're also able to appreciate. There's a stillness. I live beside an open space which has been shut. It's about 6 hectares that it's been shut as a result of what's going on. There is a beautiful stillness in nature that I haven't noticed in a long, long time, since I was a child. So there's that aspect of things as well. We've got endings and beginnings, and if anyone has seen my readings, and my readings for a long time, if you go back to my readings in January, all with the astrological conjunction that was present, and the messages my cards were giving, we were saying that things were going to change, that we were having to face our core truths, our core values, that Saturn and Uranus as well, Pluto, we've got Mars, as all these major planets were warning, were foretelling that this year would be a year of change. Yes, that's exactly what it is. We've got things that are ending, but we've also got things that are beginning anew as well. That's the world. This isn't just my country, your country. This is the world. This is a major, major, major event in our lifetimes and in the world. This is the end of a cycle and the beginning of something else. Again, go back through my readings, and particularly my last reading, where I looked at Saturn in Aquarius, and I talked about what could come out of the ashes. It's going to take time. To me, this card signifies 2 months at least of fairly intense, I won't say progress, a fairly intense trajectory with this, what's going on at the moment. But that's also the plans that are being put into place, and a slowing of the economy with this Knight of Pentacles. This Knight, and it is the virus, it moves slowly. We're so accustomed to things occurring very quickly. If we have trouble in our regions or in our countries, it's a matter of it'll be over soon. Even in the darkest of months, where my country raged with bushfires, we still had an end in sight. We knew that those fires, I think, stopped burning around in February. So January, parts of December and January were our most intense months. This is not like that. This is going to take a lot longer than a month or 2 months for something to right itself. Whether that's a hurricane or a flood, and the aftermath of that. It is something that is going to change our world, and it's slow moving. It's not going to be over quickly. We're in defense mode. This is what's at the base of the pack. We've got this 7 of Wands, this defending ourselves. There is a need to stabilize ourselves, and I always say put your Queen of Swords hat on and bring it to the table, because we have here truth, objectivity, and we have logic, and we have plans and strategies, and the need for this, even at your individual level. That is what retains your security. That's what adds to your security. Now, these are your governors, because I know damn well that the president, you don't get the truth from the president. I watched of the US, not all the time anyway. I watched a to and froing with Trump and CNN White House reporter Jim Acosta, where he called him out on the mistruths, missteps, whatever you want to, whatever however you want to call them, and Trump got quite nasty and quite threatening. But we don't have to. Luckily, we don't have to really give in to that. We can even sideline him, because you have your governors in charge, and most of them, whether they're Republican, other than the deep red states like Mississippi, a lot of the governors, not all of them, but a lot of the governors are doing the right thing to create stability. Three queens here, three queens, and we've got the Nine of Swords, which is anxiety. There's a big call here. There's a big call here to defend yourself, to stand your ground, to stay where you are. And look what we've drawn. Three queens. Queens are all about stability, security, stabilizing something. What? Stabilizing your home, stabilizing your state, stabilizing your country. So, this is passion and motivation, plans for the future. This queen brings forward information, revelations that are needed, and my Queen of Swords brings forward logic, strategies, etc. So we've got a huge, even though there's high degrees of anxiety, we've also got a huge steam train worth of juggernaut worth of plans and projects and strategies that are being made to get the world through this virus. So, in the US, of course, you know already. We're not that far into this in the US. It's now the new epicenter. We know already that we take no notice of Donald Trump. He's had, I'm sorry, but he had a press conference. It was either today or yesterday, and he allowed Mr. My Pillow, the CEO of My Pillow, to get up and give a religious haranguing. I think the media referred to it as a religious lecture, and he's making 55,000 masks in his factory, and of course he got up and said how wonderful Donald Trump is. Why, when this president has this serious situation unfolding, why is he reverting to just gathering around him these sycophants? It's in one way, it's terribly sick. So let's have a look. Why is he having this CEO of My Pillow up on the podium? The truth. He's trying to obscure the truth in a way, or the truth is the bottom line here. You're not hearing the truth. The balance, the truth is out of balance. Oh dear, the truth is out of balance. There's judgment here. He's being judged, but there's also an inevitability about this coming to a close. A lot of my viewers are saying we're just bypassing him. We're not even listening to him. There's a call across social media for major networks not to broadcast these Rose Garden. They're almost turning into campaign rallies. Here we go. He's in the past as the emperor, the one in control. He's in the past. We have the Wheel of Fortune. Things are changing. This is a karmic card. People are looking to their governors for leadership. In their isolation, they're reviewing. Now, I don't care what the opinion polls are saying. The majority are turned off by having My Pillow CEO get up on that podium and give a religious lecture. Okay, so and also high praise for how Trump is dealing with this situation. This is not 2016. What a naive fellow. Loans and debts, giving and receiving. You help me, and this is Dr. Deborah Birx. You help me, I'll help you. Again, it's big money around this. I don't know what my pillow has received, but there's big money around all of this sycophantry, if that's even a word. The hopes and fears that there is a plan. The fear is that there's a plan for the future, but the hope is for new starts. If this virus went away tomorrow and an election was held tomorrow, he would not win. We've got the moon card, keeping secrets, the shadow side of things. We do have the smug merchant, but it's also the card of wish fulfillment and miracles. You've got the Hierophant. So this is government as well. Why has he got these people? He's keeping secrets, okay? So yes, we get into this again. It is again the haves and the have-nots. It's what is being done, as you know, with when he signed the stimulus package. He added a note, a signing declaration to say that he wouldn't abide by the setup of an independent inspector general and a council to monitor what is going on with the stimulus. There is trying to keep secrets. So this is just a reality show. That's basically what it is. But it's something more. There's something else that he's hiding. Now, Jared Kushner is running a shadow virus group, which is made up of Kushner and business people. I don't need to throw cards on that to know that this is a breeding ground for opportunism and profiteering, because that's who you've got. On another level, the election is on November the 20th. I've always read it would go ahead, even if it is a postal vote, and I don't see him in office in 2021. The base of the pack, it's emotion. It's like, come to the party and tell me how great I am, the Three of Cups. But at the basis of it, we've got loss. In the middle of what he's lost, and there are many who say that he lost the war with this. He was too slow to act, etc. This is why he's doing what he's doing, because he's got to have his ego, the fragility of his ego, stroked. We've got strength and endurance. His strength is waning because I see here, as the economy takes its nosedive, he's very, very afraid of the economy stalling, moving into even worse than a recession, and he's very afraid of that election in November. And well, he should. Well, he should be. All right, let's have a look at. Let's take a look at the lab in China. I don't want this reading to be too long, so I might just take one more question and perhaps another small pull. The lab in China, what was China doing? This experts say this is not a man-made virus. We can accept that, but was this virus being worked on in a laboratory? Let's just see what happens with that. Was this virus being worked on in a laboratory? Was it unintentionally? Or was it released? Was this virus worked on in a laboratory? Was it released? Let's see. Yeah, well, there's something. This is what my pulls. I keep coming back to this. The moon card. There is something. There's something here. We don't really know the full picture at all. We don't know. There's something, and all my card pulls say that we don't know the full picture. My intuition is telling me that it wasn't a man-made virus, but perhaps it was a virus in existence that they may have been studying. The challenge to that was independence, financial independence. Now that's interesting. Let's keep going. The Hermit. Review, investigation, isolation, something could have been in isolation and was released. We've got the Ace of Cups, new starts. What's up in the sky? The Three of Cups. Okay, so it could be that this has been what occurred. Could have been covered up. There could have been more than one person involved here. And here is the virus, the Chariot card, that just won't let up once it was released. Six of Pentacles, loans and debts. Now, the other theory is that there could have been testing and the lab rats were released or sold on the black market in some way. There's something here about this virus that doesn't meet the eye. There's something here that I keep picking up. The Three of Swords. This is loss and heartbreak. The fear here is the truth. The Queen of Swords, stability. King of Swords, investigation, the truth. Okay. Five of Wands. This is obstacles and challenges. This is almost factionalism. And we've got the Nine of Swords. So there's anxiety here about the origins of this. There's not been the investigation yet because we're in the middle of it. Well, not even the middle. We are at the beginning of this. It's showing me that there will be calls for investigation further down the track. Absolutely, the Tower card. And we have the Hierophant, governments, and the Wheel of Fortune. So I feel that we could hear more about this, how this occurred. Now, it could even be the lack of governance that saw these wet markets in existence to begin with. The world is going to, once this is finished, the world is going to go and want answers. Will it get them from China? There's going to be some kind of investigation of how this happened, how this occurred, how it got out of the country, how it spread to other countries. So we're going to get that information further down the track. All right, so could be the World Health Organization uses its powers to somehow conduct this investigation. But there is going to be an investigation. So I'm not saying this is not a man. This is not. Experts have said this is not a man-made virus. Let's get that clear. Experts have already said that. But it's a naturally occurring virus that jumps species. But there's something else beyond that we don't know about, but that we will in the future. One last pull. Are leaders tempted to go to... Oh, no. Let's go to whether the Congress will vote to put aside habeas corpus, the right to a fair trial, the right to a trial, while this global situation exists. Something's flowing out. The Hermit, isolation. Well, we know that ostensibly the reason that the Department of Justice is giving is that we're in the middle of this situation and therefore this will put pressure on the courts, etc. However, a lot of the courts already have telecommunication facilities there. And this is what Congress will argue, that rather than bring forward something that says no more trials, or a judge has the right to say no trial while this emergency is occurring, others are going to say no, that's not something we'll negotiate on. And so I don't see it getting through. But let's have a look. Will William Barr be successful in waiving the right to a fair trial or to a trial during this national emergency? Department of Justice, will it be successful in suspending trials during this emergency? No, I heard that very strongly. So somebody's going to, or the Congress is going to come out emphatically and say no. This is the Ten of Cups. That's the voter. They would be absolutely politically suicidal to do something like that. The Seven of Cups, this is an illusion. This is not, there's not a need for this. The Two of Pentacles, manipulation. And finally, we've got the Knight of Swords. So there's some kind of truth going to come forward. This is a no. We do have the Tower, and we do have the Fool card, which is new starts, and we do have the Six of Cups. I like to see this. This is a reunification with our higher selves. So there are new starts coming after what is occurring globally, but I don't see, this is on the part of William Barr. It is a move to it's a smokescreen. It's to obscure. It's not going to wash because the Congress are going to have in mind the voters, and they know something like this would not fly with people. So it's a no. I don't think he will get that through. All right, I'll leave it there, and thank you for tuning in. We'll get to some of those other questions around whether governments globally are more tempted with these declarations of national emergencies, whether they're tempted to move into a more authoritarian type of government. We'll look at that next time. And anything else that we need to. Perhaps we'll come back to the governors as well in the US. We have a similar thing here in Australia, though our federal government is not playing favourites. All our states are being helped in the same way. But we only have however many states. We don't have 50, whatever you have as well. There's my history lesson there that I wasn't paying attention to. But anyway, suffice to say that we have far fewer states here, but our states cover big, huge territory. But our government is treating them all the same. Trump is using this to rally. He's using this for political expediency. But there's also something else with Dr. Birx, and really before I know I said I was going, but this sycophantry, Dr. Birx, people are very surprised that she's entering into this kind of relationship with him. Why is Dr. Birx, so it's just one quick question, why is Dr. Birx being a sycophant? Why is a person of science, an objective, she's the coordinator for the government's response. Why is she pandering to Trump's ego? Why is Dr. Birx pandering to Trump's ego? And you can understand the CEO of My Pillow, but Dr. Birx. This is showing she thinks, should I go this far? I don't think she thinks that he's quite up to it. He's quite up to the job. The Four of Swords keeps coming up for Trump. It shows ill health. Nine of Pentacles, freedom, independence, financial resources. She understands, I think, the significance of this situation, this Ace of Wands. This is a plan, I feel. This is a deliberate strategy. I'm being touched on my head. Yes, this is trying to sway things in a different, turn the wheel more in the country's favour. And so I feel that this is what she's doing. Also to keep the money flowing, to help, giving and receiving help. There's something here with this this moon card, secrets. There's some, she would have access to the broad view. There is an abuse of power here. So I feel she sees the broad view, and I feel that she feels this is the best way to manage him for the good of the country. That's what I feel intuitively, because this has come up. It's suggesting to me that she thinks that he's not quite, I don't know, in good health. Let's just leave it there. Because if he was, he would stick to the truth. He wouldn't have Mr. My Pillow up on the podium He wouldn't be attacking all and sundry. He wouldn't be threatening people. He wouldn't be mishandling and threatening Democratic and other governors who don't pander to his ego. There is something wrong with him. We've known that, and she knows it as well, and she's getting around it. That's my feeling anyway. All right, now I'm here, been here far too long. Thank you for tuning in. Stay well, stay safe. You have my support. That's why I'm here again today. And thank you for tuning in and supporting me to support you.